Go
young
through it.
babies out here that need proper guidance, proper leadership, and proper direction. You know what I mean? So
Word.
we ain't wasting one. Another thing, I guess we'll go over it as we
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
on. Y'all ask questions, whatever. I'm gonna go into that cipher, man. You know what I mean? I've been around thinking long enough that I can tap into that and speak on that, and then we gonna dead that issue real quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sitting here getting on one of the two black artists.
Yeah, provocateurs, agents, everybody, God. I mean, I done seen them come and go. You know what I mean?
Peace, God. So look,
Big,
let's go and get into it, man. Peace to the God, peace to the
big.
earth, man. Peace to everybody. Yes, yes, we is rocking, we is live, and we is rocking. Yes, sir, man. And peace to the God, man. I got a week. If it's the first time with us, welcome to the God and Earth Hour podcast, man. This your brother, man, Minister Freedom Allah. I'm in the studio, of course, with my man I see a law, man. Y'all know how we do, man. Peace to the gods, peace to the earth, man. Yes, all the positive people in the universe, man. Y'all know how we do, man. So we in here, and we talking about how do you make your mathematics walk and talk today, man? So I got a real special guest. I'm gonna let my special guest introduce himself, man. The God, before I bring him up, what people got to realize and what you got to know in this nation, in this culture, man, is that we are as great a way of life and a great culture and a great people as we are because we able to, in a sense, stand on the shoulders of great men, man, who laid it down and gave their time and their life to teach, and be great individuals, man. And this God we got with us, man, the God is definitely one of them. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking to be a God that's able to be well traveled, be well studied, to make an impact on the world and make an impact on the community, man. So today, man, we got the great life of law with us, man. Peace to the God.
Peace,
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 God.
gods and earth. Peace to everybody
Peace to
out
the
there in the
God.
universe.
Man.
Appreciate the time, the energy, and the effort to have me here on your platform, God. I appreciate it.
Man, God, it's an honor, man. The honor is definitely mine, man. It's a pleasure to be here with you, God, and to have you. Me and you, and I had the pleasure to kind of dialogue with you, and we had us a nice good build, man. And I say, man, God, I gotta get you on here on this
I appreciate it.
platform,
Yes, sir.
because what we seeing and why we here, man, and me and IC was just talking about this, God. We able to, what we understand is that in today's time, these so-called social media spaces or internet spaces are the spaces in which the information and knowledge is being communicated and disseminated to the people. So
Uh-huh.
just being who we are and being the Lord of all the worlds, being the supreme being, being the one who is responsible for the uncivilized. I think it's important to make sure that we keep the flag planted, God, and God, and I know you've been around a while. You've done a lot of teaching. You've made a lot of impact on your community, God. What would you say to that, man? That's why we here. So
Right. Well,
I was just go ahead.
yeah, first and foremost, let's deal with today's mathematics. That's how we
Bill,
start off, right?
Bill.
Today's mathematics is wisdom, building, story, and that born knowledge. First of all, in today's time, as it relates to artificial intelligence, we got many who are dealing with artificial intelligence and not dealing with the laws of intelligence. You know what I mean? And you have to be a complete person to manifest this knowledge properly. In other words, as you said earlier, how do you make this knowledge walk and talk simultaneously? So let me go into my history briefly,
Word. Go
and then
ahead,
we
God.
go into other things so that brothers and sisters who don't know of me will then know of me through sound, through word, and through questions if they have it.
Peace, God.
Again, my name is Life Allah, and I got knowledge of myself July 7th, 1981, in the north side of Queens, 113 from Farms Boulevard. My educator is Supreme Mind Allah, who got his knowledge from Allah Real, who got his knowledge, you know what I mean, from the firstborn of the desert. And of course, we say also that he got his knowledge from old man Justice C, or Allah's right hand man. Now, when I got knowledge in 81, we were at a very serious threshold for gods and earths, especially in the desert.
Now, when I got knowledge in 81,
Medina, can't speak about Mecca, although I've been through those avenues I could speak about the desert, which then became the oasis. And in the early 90s, me and my knowledge seed, Ramel, started the African Poetry Theater where, the gods and earth can have a place to come and, have civilization classes and parliaments and things of this nature. This was early 90s. Now, I want to talk about my history a little bit as it relates to who I am, what I am, where I am, when I am, and why I am. Those 5 fundamentals. Who? We're going to start there, based upon first degree student enrollment. Who? Right? Again, my lineage come from Belize, Central America. My ancestors are
Peace, God.
So we dealt with reality of the universe at a young age. When I got knowledge in 81, like I said, it was a very, very serious time. We also know there was the crack era, the Supreme Team was in full effect. A lot of things were going on. The gods and earths, especially in the desert, everywhere was gods and earths up on the EU, Hillside Avenue, which is what we call the EU. And of course, also the Queen's Library, where we had a god that used to work there, and he would actually allow the young gods to come there and do study. We didn't have the internet at that time the way we have it now, so everything was books.
Just to be clear,
at that time,
Peace, God. The guy had a question for you.
No. I have a question. I want you to keep going. I said, just to be clear, I want everybody to know we're talking about Queens. That's the desert.
Yes, the desert.
Oasis.
Queens.
That's Queens.
Desert, right? Now, in the early 70s, right, Allah B and Prince Allah did the first Christmas party in Hollis, Queens. And that is when you started to see a flourishing of the desert, and then it became the oasis because life was put into it as far as the knowledge with an understanding of who the original man and who the original woman was at that time. At that time, I was 15 years old, knowledge power, but I didn't understand the knowledge of my power until later on.
Peace, God.
You understand what I'm saying?
Peace, God. Was that the event that later led to what we call the show and prove today?
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct. After Allah returned, we all know that 1 year, everything kind of went a little haywire, and as a result of the gods, Allah B, at that time known as Born Allah and firstborn Prince Allah from the desert, decided, and also my big brother Dumar, YD Allah, peace be upon him as well. They decided to put this together in the desert. You know what I mean? And all the gods from all the boroughs came.
Ooh, I was some history right now.
You said you
and so there,
knowledge power then.
Yeah, I was knowledge power.
Right.
But like I said, I didn't have the knowledge of my power, although it was expressed to me that the black man was God. Now, of course, when somebody said the black man was God, when Supreme Mind, my educating, said the black man was God, I looked at him kind of crazy. What do you mean the black man's God? I'm looking at a white Jesus. I'm looking at the Ten Commandments, Charlton Heston. I'm looking at, you know what I mean? I'm looking at that, and that's what I'm seeing. The visuals, right? Because we got to do the knowledge, look, listen, and learn. So I'm not seeing God in black form. I'm seeing God in Caucasian form, right? So when the gods said they were gods, my first question to my educator was, how is the black man God? And that's when he gave me 120 lessons and told me to study. He didn't give me no guidance on how to study. He said, here's 120. And I didn't even know what that meant at the time. And you need to study and memorize what this is. And then the God disappeared. Not like Father Muhammad disappearing, you know what I mean? But in the sense of, he went on, because he was a merchant. He did a lot of stuff in the streets. And he actually taught me the science of responsibility and accountability to get up early in the morning and do what we call wholesale. You know what I mean? This is how he taught me to eat. And what he taught me was this, and I tell the story, especially for guys that want to know my history. He said, if you work 5 days a week and you make $200 a day, how much is that? Of course, that's $1,000. Well, depending on the month, if you do that 4 times a week or 4 weeks, that's $4,000. Can you handle that? Yeah, God, I can handle that. All right, that's what we're going to do. And he taught me the science of wholesaling to women and children. He said, be mindful of men. They're always going to try to get off on you. But women and children, they're going to be the ones that's going to cater to you. So we would sell balloons. We would sell things to the women. We would sell things to the children. And that's how my first lesson of knowing who I was how to fend for myself in the reality of independence, right? In terms of feed my family, food, clothes, and shelter. Right? All right. So that happened. Now, when I got this knowledge, we had a law school in the South Jamaica Road over there on the South side. My brother, unfortunately, who passed away today, was one of those guards who was very instrumental in bringing a lot of the young over there. Kendu Wise Allah, you know
Great
what I mean?
God too, man. I
You know
know
what I
the
mean?
God,
And then
man.
also
Man.
Allah Real and Beloved and all those who created the magazine The Word,
Okay, these
who
were
was
the
there
brothers. These were the brothers that was responsible for the first
for the
school
Word
in the
and for
Law's
the
Oasis.
school, right? And at
Right.
that time, that whole area was a drug den, and the guards would have issues with the drug dealers right across the street. It would be a lot of fist fights, all that going on because the guards didn't want the drug dealers to sell anything to the children. If the children are the greatest, how are you showing them greatness if you poison in the community?
Right.
Peace.
Unfortunately, though, some of the
Damn.
guards got caught up in that science of money.
Damn, God.
And
That
we
was
now
cold.
know those some of those guards is the Supreme Team, right? And then you had other guards, you know what I mean, that were there that got caught up. And at that time, you had a gang called the Seven Crowns, right, from the South Side,
Right.
right? And the Seven Crowns was intricate, or it was integrated into the guard reality. So you had guards that was out hustling, and you had guards that had the knowledge and the wisdom and understanding, and it was a big, big thing. Now, this happened in 81. Now, at that time in 81, I was now at IS 238 on the Hillside Avenue. When I graduated from IS 238, I also then went to Andrew Jackson High School. Again, another time and space that many people don't even understand unless you was there. Now, before I got really deeply involved in the Law's Nation and the Law's Truth, I was also a member of the Zulu Nation. I was a Zulu king at the time because I was still going through this metamorphosis of who am I, what's this thing, God is this. And at that time, the Zulu Nation had lessons called the Infinity Lessons. And I was one of the leaders, but we would always fight, always doing fighting. And at that time, we had a big issue with the gods, Zulu Nation versus the gods,
This was
right?
this
This
was
was in the 80s at Andrew Jackson High School.
okay. I mean, how old was you then? Because you said
I was
acknowledge.
16 at the
Okay,
time.
okay. So you had already been introduced to the gods and
I got
everything.
introduced to the gods, but I was still kind of in between
Right.
of who, what, when, where, why.
Right.
I still don't understand how gods
So
are on the corner saying that they gods. I
your
was still confused,
your
as we all
association
are when we come from the dead world.
your association with the Zulu Nation,
Yeah.
was it through hip hop? Like how did that come about?
No, it was a brother named Africa Islam. Well, here's the thing: in the Queens, we're known as the business of hip hop.
And
You know what I
God,
mean?
but
And
just
I
peace,
interned.
God. Real
Let's
quick
talk
question.
about that.
What year was that? I'm trying to make sure I stay with you. And what year about we at? Just
We
time.
now we're now in say 83,
83. Okay.
81 to
Peace,
85.
God.
That
Peace,
window.
God.
Yeah.
You peace, God. No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah. So again, I was still confused, still trying to find myself. Now, mind you, from 9 to 16, I was in the foster care system. My stepfather brutally beat me, and they took me out of my home and put me in the foster care system from 9 to 16. While I was coming back and forth from Medina and Brooklyn and all that, as we like to call it, Medina, as it relates to the reality of the name, I was getting this knowledge from Supreme Mind, but still didn't understand it completely. All right, so now I'm 16 years old. Now, we all know our lessons talk about being 16, and now you could be healthy, strong, and good breeders. Well, that 16 was also the question of who is the 5%? And that question was posed to me by one of the guards in the desert. If you say you're a 5%er, who is that? I didn't understand the question at the time. I just said a person who got knowledge. No, it's the black man who does not believe in the teachings of the 10% who's all wise and know who the true living God is. Now, of course, when you memorize this, you still don't get it until you actually apply it within your own scope of practice. You know what I'm saying? In terms of applying it. At that time at 16, I got the bomb, right? Some would say it's, it ain't always truth, but it was, edited by my brother, my big brother, Beloved, who was one of the editors of the Word.
Word.
And in that literature, it said that Allah was now in the army. He got inducted in the army. So what I did was, after I studied that pamphlet and I studied that lesson, I said, you know what? I was getting myself involved with a lot of things that wasn't necessary. I'm going to do what Allah did. And I joined the military at 17.
At 17.
Yeah. I went and took the test on Jamaica Avenue, called the ABZAB test, and I became a combat medic October 3rd, 1985, when I was enrolled in in the military. And at 18 now, which will be my birthday in 85, my birthday present was wall-to-wall counseling with the drill sergeants at Fort Bliss, Texas.
Damn.
Now, everybody saw that movie, Full Metal Jacket.
Right.
Word.
Right? Well, that
Word.
was my introduction to manhood.
Oh.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? At that time.
Right.
And so I began to get involved with the military life. Now, mind you, while I was in the military, I was still in between who is God, what is God, where is God, when is God, and why is God. Because of my studies and because of me traveling around the world and understanding that when I got this knowledge, I began to study that everywhere the white man went, they kept seeing us. So that piqued my curiosity, even in Germany, when I was over there the first time at 18, to understand, well, what is the history of the black man in Germany?
Ooh,
You know what I mean?
Bill.
I started to see that there was a lot of babies being made by the original man with German women.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? I started to see all that as I was being exposed to this brave new world, as we call it back then.
The Swatch.
Right. Right. So now I stayed in the military. This is in peacetime. From October 3rd, 1985, still studying my lessons, still going through that and really realizing what this was. And I got out April 2nd, 1989. When I got out, though, I grew up on Farmers Boulevard, 113th North Side. I grew up with LL. I did all those things. We all grew up together on the North Side by the Rock. We call it the Rock, which is where Marcus Garvey came later, early on in Queens. And he put a big black, red, and green rock in the middle of North Side Queens. That's our point. So I grew up with that groove. She was one of the Fat Boys' girlfriends at the end of the movie. That was my wife, right?
Okay, yeah, now I remember that.
And so I got involved in the music business. So I became an artist. We had a group called Man Jew, which basically meant leaders, and experts singing at a dance. We had that, a husband and wife rap group, which did fairly well. We got a record deal in Boston when I was stationed there, through a company called Race Records and the Almighty Almighty RSO. What's your man, Benzino?
Yeah,
he was a part of that crew when we was over there. Right, he was a part of that crew. All right, so now we're going to move up now. So now in 89, when the artistry thing didn't work. All right, okay, they wasn't really looking and interested in a husband and wife rap group. So what I did was I became an intern at Rush Artist Management under Russell Simmons and Leo Cohen's leadership.
Right.
And at that time, my boss at that time was two people, a brother named William or Bill Robinson, who taught me the science of A&R and also management. And we had all the groups, Leaders of the New School, Tribe Called Quest, Rakim. Or we had all of the popular groups at that, Public Enemy, everybody. And I started to learn the game of entertainment. So for a decade, I was a music executive working at labels, created labels in LA, did a whole bunch of stuff in the music business. Now, my last stint in the music game before I went back into the military was in 1999, around 2000. I was working at Universal Records as the head of promotions and marketing, if you will, under Kadar Massenberg, who happens to be Dr. York's nephew. And we had a conflict. He owed me money, and I was about to beat him up. Right? Now, this is the truth. This is not me tooting my own horn. It's just what happened. And I realized that the game wasn't loyal to me because I didn't understand the true intricacies of the game. I thought if you do what you're supposed to do, handle your business like a man, then you get rewarded because word is born regardless of whom or what. Well, I found out very quickly that the game is very shiesty, and it'd be our own people, not the white man per se. It'd be our own people who is the worst devils, right? Weak and wicked grafted from the original thought, which is to be ethical in your approach, right? As it relates to doing the right business. So what I did was I had some friends of mine. I did all the stuff for Erykah Badu, all her promotions, all the stuff that we had to do across the country, actually across the world. If you look at her first album, you'll see my name in the credits. You know what I mean? Life of Law. You know what I mean? Now, again, that's not to toot my own horn. It's just to say that I've been around a lot of things in my 55 years of living. Now, when I got out of the music business in 2000, I was working as the urban director of artist development for a company called The Orchard, which is still in existence now. They do a lot of films, a lot of things. At that time, it was in Chinatown. And I got a call from one of my buddies in the military saying, hey, Light, we need you to come back in because you already been trained. You're a senior medic. We need people that's already in the know. So I said, you know what? Let me go back in and handle my affairs because the music business wasn't guaranteeing me nothing. And at that time, that's when the internet started to hit. You know what I'm saying? So in 2000, October 5th, 2000, I went back in the military active duty. All this time, though, for that decade and a half, I was a reservist, but I never told nobody I was in it. I never told nobody I was in the reserve. I never told nobody I was still dealing with, the Army. I just kept that to myself. So now in 2000, when I went back in, we know what happened the next following year, 9/11. You understand? Yeah. And I got caught up in that. Unfortunately for me, I was deployed and, unfortunately I got hurt in Afghanistan. I got metal on both of my legs. But they told me I would never walk again. But, when you're dealing with doctors, ministers, nurses, and cremated, they'll tell you whatever they want. But if you don't tell yourself, you'll fall victim to what they told you. I'm walking today. I'm walking today. So we was on the subject of how do you make mathematics walk and talk?
Peace, God.
Well, first of all, we don't take nothing on face value. We understand our value. You know what I'm saying? So I did that.
Peace, God.
After I got out the military in 2004, I went into the federal side and began to work with a lot of our veterans in Los Angeles, working with them and doing different things. Still had my hands in the music game per se, and then got involved with, became the legal administrative specialist for the Department of Veteran Affairs in Los Angeles, and also the minority program coordinator, helping our fellow veterans in Los Angeles and the counties understand their benefits. That was up until 2015.
God, really quick, man. God, I just want to commend you really quick, God. God, you got a hell of a resume, man.
Yeah, God. I don't really talk about it, God.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to my
starting
website,
at the age 17.
I'm talking about, yeah.
If you go to my website, I have a nonprofit that I still help our veterans, with hemp, and we'll talk about that.
Word.
If you go to my website, you'll see my military credentials, and I don't really speak on it. Some people do because they know, but I keep it to myself. You know what I mean? The things that I did out there. I did volunteer for something, and when you go to my website, veteranshealthsolutions.org, you'll see who I am really on the other side of the mountain. I won't even talk about it here, but you'll see it when you go to the website.
Peace, God. No.
So I started doing that. Now, in 2015, because I had blood clots in my leg, my doctor was telling me I had to retire. So I had to do that. On the day of my retirement, July 30th, 2015, I got a call from my children's mother that my younger son, Justice Amir, was having pain in his ribs. Of course, pain, you're young, whatever. Come to find out he was diagnosed with leukemia, a rare blood cancer. And that became my quest prior to that, to getting into the hemp space as far as the oil and what it can do as far as the healing and the history. And I became an educator in that, which I'm still am now. I went and got my master's degree. As a law said, we should get our education and bring it back.
No, that's right.
I'm currently right now in law school here in Atlanta to receive my law degree here. I have one more year to complete that task. I say all that to say, as it relates to making, as we talked about the topic of Allah's teachings, is that these teachings, for those that are new, those that have been around long enough, is not a plaything.
Peace, God.
I've had a lot of issues with gods, some with earths in this nation, because they've taken these things on face value, not understanding the value of what the lesson can do for you when you apply mathematics correctly, right? Again, when we go through the lessons, right, we have to use mathematics to draw Elijah's answers based upon questions posed to him at a time. And we all know the date, right? We all know what it is. But the reality is that we take mathematics that the law gave us to unlock the mystery behind those lessons. And then those lessons that are not mentioned, right? The 240 degrees that you got to go around the world to find out, you apply that to 120, now you got 360, now you got a life to live. And what I was taught as a young God is that you must live out your name to the fullest degree, not to talk. Allah, in our lessons, 37 degrees, said Allah is seen, then he's heard. A lot of brothers do a lot of talking first, put wisdom before knowledge. Now let's deal with that wisdom, Bill.
Bill, God.
Wisdom, we say, is wise words. But anybody can talk wise, but their condition will tell you otherwise if you paid attention to the detail. A lot of brothers and sisters in this nation and abroad may not have the experience on how to build and take this to the next level of their existence as it relates to the reality of who we say we are as God in earth. Now, God means sovereign, meaning I am the authority. And if I build correctly by keeping my word bond to the foundation that I'm walking on, then we allow ourselves to do the what? Walking. And if you walk with me, you'll see what I can do as being the architect of my universe. We're not dealing with Masonic reality. We're dealing with the fact that I'm a builder, like many of you out there, right? But if you're not building for a common cause of an exact right and exact mindset, then that means you're wasting time. And if you're wasting time, 2 and 8 is 10. You'll receive justice. And what does that have to do with the above question? The above question is, will I sit home and wait for a mystery God to bring me food? And of course, I'm not waiting on none of y'all.
I know that's
I'm letting
right.
y'all know that early. Right? I'm not waiting on no mystery God, no mystery earth, no mystery nobody, especially when I'm known to myself. Now, why do I say that with such enthusiasm? In our lessons, it talks about studying the science of everything in life. Before you can teach, you got to be civilized. Then you got to know how to deal with things appropriately in the sense of what righteousness looks like. I can't give a man the knowledge of himself. I can give him some information that he can discover himself based upon the 9,000 miles that he must swim. You know what I mean? And some are drowning right now because they have not been born alive. They've been born premature based upon the complete ciphers that they're supposed to complete before they go out and teach. Now, let's talk about this teaching thing. I was never a God who wanted to tell you how many people I taught.
Right.
Well,
I would tell you how many people stayed.
That was about to be one of my questions, God, because one of the questions I wanted to ask you is,
Yes, sir.
About you being in the military at a young age,
Yes.
being exposed to the gods
Yes.
at such a young age, and having that influence, and then
Yeah.
coming home from the military,
Yeah.
you know, and being in reserves and being amongst the civilians, you know,
Yeah.
for so many years, months, and days, and then
Yes,
decide
sir.
to go back into active duty. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Even, with even more knowledge at this
Right.
particular time. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. And that,
I'm really interested to know, number one,
Yes,
I want
sir.
to know how many different places outside of the country have you been? And then in those places outside of the country have you been?
Yeah.
How many people have you taught in those places? Because
Okay, great.
I've met guys that was from, you know, some wild, far out places. And I'm like, damn, the guys was over there teaching? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I like to hear
So,
your history on that, guy.
to answer that question, that's a great question, God. I've been pretty much damn near everywhere. And the reality of teaching is not lecturing. It's to show and improve my existence as a man, right? As I tell a lot of young brothers and sisters now, there's a difference between manhood, adulthood, and godhood. And it's a process. In that first degree, you don't become God just because you got some lessons.
Right.
You got to be the maker, the owner, and the cream. You got to have that. And you got to be the father to go further in life. So you're going to be the example of what God looks like and is in actual foundational form. So I've been to Germany. I've been to France. I've been to Afghanistan. I've been, I've been, over, you know, when I say overseas, I've been down, you know, of course, in my homeland in Belize. I've been to Thailand. I've been in different places where my presence alone and how I carried myself was kind of a shining light to many, especially when they say, well, what is your name? And I say, my name is Life Allah. Allah? What you mean? God? Yeah. Life Allah. Life born power and Allah born God. Right? So I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to show and prove what it is, and then I'll explain later. This is how I taught, and this is how I still teach. I don't do too much talking. I'm a producer. We got to put life where things are dead at. So I taught many in the military, some that you may know, some that you may not know, some that became, you know, sergeants and all that. I taught them. Also, in the Masonic Lodge, I taught there as well. You know what I mean? That's a fact. And no one can dispute it because show me where it's not evident. Right? Show me. Let me see where it's not evident that God is a black man. but he has to come into that realization through actualization. So to answer your question, God, yes, I've been around the world, 196,940,000 square miles as it relates to those mathematics in that. And I made knowledge born with the equality, you know what I mean, to show and prove who God is. Now, let me also say this, because I got to say it, right? We're dealing with transparency. We're dealing with truth. When there was a lot of things that I did not realize when dealing with Earths, and I heard a few Earths out there in terms of my behavior with other women. Now, I say that to say that a part of the teaching, right, in terms of teaching those who want this, you cannot teach them by plugging into them, right, which is sometimes what we do first. We plug in. We never deal with the first degree in the 1 to 14, right?
Once you plug in, you can't flip that polarity.
Right, you can't. So I'm saying that to say that I wasn't a perfect God when I was coming up. I wasn't perfect in the sense of, oh, this is this divine being, he's floating on the carpet, and you know what I mean? Nah, I was a man, and I made mistakes.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? And I had to pay for those mistakes. And then I had to be mature enough to recognize and hold myself responsible for those mistakes, you know what I mean, that I made, inclusive to my own family. I was never committed to no one woman. I've always had more than one woman. You see what I'm saying? Not because there's more than one Earth, although they find it out now as the spacemen are going out there and they find other planetary things in the Earth that have Earth atmospheres. But the point I wanted to make is that, you know, a lot of gods will come in and sound good, but they never tell you the opposite side to them. They never tell you the things that went bad, the things that went terrible, the things that you had to go through. I was in jail, you know what I mean, for a short period of time. You know what I mean? Twice. You see what I'm saying? But we know Yaqub didn't build prison house for his people. When one fell victim to the law, the penalty was death. So that's not a place for us to be, in a cage. You know what I mean? So I went through all those things to be a better man, to be a better God, and to be a better example. And this is why I continue to pay homage to those gods, not in the sense of worshiping, or those earths, because you had a lot of dynamic earths out there that would teach the brothers seriously.
Yes.
Right? Especially in the desert. Like I said, some of the desert earths were serious. They wasn't playing no games. They would question God just like anybody else would get questioned and examined. So I pay homage to them because it gave me a science and it gave me a reality of a full circle reality of what this is about, you know, in terms of teaching and what it can do if you do it right and exact. Now, I'm here in Atlanta. Been to a few parliaments and sites here with the guards, Latik and Atomic and these brothers who got, you know, got some issues going on within their circumference. But at the same time, you know, one of the biggest things that I did was when I went home to Belize, I taught in my homeland of Belize, you know what I mean, and taught the science of mathematics. And that's on footage. That's on YouTube. You can actually see it. One of the brothers I taught in LA came out to Belize while I was out there and filmed it while I was going through it. Simple science, you know what I mean? We ain't going to high science, going over people's heads. Simple science. So to answer that question, God, yeah, I've been around a long time, and I've seen gods come and earths come and go. But I still remain. You know, I do recognize that we have a serious job to do even more now. As I said, in the mindset of artificial intelligence, ignorance is now a choice. And these young people don't want to hear lectures from brothers or sisters who ain't got nothing to show them, right? It's called show and prove, not show and tell. And when it comes to food, clothing, and shelter, these young brothers and sisters want to see how they're going to eat, how they're going to be, you know, housed, how they're going to be clothed. If you cannot show them how to do that, right, they're going to go to what we now have as the gangs, the Bloods, the Crips, and all these other things. Now, another thing for those neophytes out there, you newborns, a lot of people think this is the gang. We are not a gang. We are a construct of men, women, and children striving to better ourselves in the areas of knowledge, wisdom, understanding through a culture of I, God. Now, a lot of people get this misconstrued what I, God means. I, God is not an individual. It's an intellectual mindset, intelligence, right, that we all must have. Just saying that you memorize 120 don't make you smart. It makes you aware, but you still have other studies to do. And that's why I tell a lot of young brothers now, sisters now, you will not ever master life until you have a life to live. That means you have to continue to learn, which is why I still am in school and I still study and I still strive to find ways to improve myself. Now, let's talk about this education thing. As I said, I'm in the hemp business. Notice I didn't say marijuana or cannabis, right? Because those are negative stigmas that's been placed into the psychology of men and women out there in the universe, saying that, hey, if you do this, you're a drug dealer. No, I'm an educator of plant-based medicine. And I use the acronym HEMP, helping educate misinformed people about the laws of hemp, about the science of hemp, about the healing properties of hemp, about how America used hemp as a medicine which worked for a lot of diseases and ailments at the time in the 1800s. And I also teach how to get into the business of hemp. So I have two companies. I have three companies. As I said, I have my nonprofit where I teach veterans the importance of healing and get them off the opiates. That's veteranshealthsolutions.org. I also have a management company back into the music side again called High End Music Partners, spells out hemp. And then I have a company called hemp.co, which is the product line of all the medicines. And I'm in a partnership with a doctor named Dr. Bao Lee, and we created what I dub as the Focus, Rest, and Calm tinctures for those who have issues with post-traumatic stress and anxiety and all these different things. And you can go to that website and check it out.
Right,
you'll probably see me in uniform. You can probably see me in uniform.
I got a question for you about that.
Yes.
So,
Yes,
from an entrepreneurial perspective,
yes, sir.
Speaking about the hemp, us being out here in D-Mecca, which is Detroit, Michigan, we legalized out here, on the medical end and on the recreational end.
Yes, I'm familiar.
And how do you feel about the cannabis part of it?
Well, let's understand the difference, the differentials of that. You have marijuana, cannabis, and hemp.
Right.
They all stem from the one sativa plant, but they have different components. Marijuana is still a federal controlled substance. Regardless of what the state says, you still have the state and federal jurisdiction. The cannabis is medicinal and recreational. I'm not in the business to get you high. I'm in the business to get you healed. Okay. And that's a different type of business. That's where hemp comes into play. You see what I'm saying? Because it not only has healing properties, not just to get a person stimulated, but you have industrial uses of hemp that can be applicable to, say, concrete, building certain things, clothing, all these different things. Over 30,000 ways to use hemp. For us being who we are as scientists, doctors, right? Ministers, if you will, in the sense of ministering this truth, why not get involved in that? And I've been striving for a very long time to get guards and nurses involved in the business of hemp so that they can now utilize their knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to ensure that they will be a part of this $1 trillion industry.
When based on me asking you that question and you explaining it the way you did, I mean, I just learned something by you just saying that right now.
Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think a lot of individuals need to hear that explanation like that, and maybe they could understand the value of the hemp side of it, because just based on you saying that. I mean, I know the value of the cannabis side of it, the stimulation.
Word, piece of God.
What I'm saying?
Yeah, the God dropping it.
And that's why I deal with it, for the recreational side of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest with you.
Right.
And then you got the medicinal, side of it,
For pain,
Yeah, but however, that hemp, I've heard of, I know they had material that they make clothing, what I'm saying, out of it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know they have papers, leaves or whatever they got that they make from it, whatnot, so.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So I was the first to teach hemp education in Belize, in my homeland as well. That's also on YouTube. When you go to hemp, if you put in YouTube hemp in Belize, you'll see my face pop up. Okay. You know what I mean? Because I was the first to teach. I'm in Belize, of course, that's my homeland. But I taught out there as well, too. And that's not to toot my own horn. I think, again, as I said, the acronym of hemp, helping educate misinformed people. A lot of our people take things on face value, but never do the research and never study on their own. And like with 120 lessons, we know that that's nearly correct. You know what I mean? But when we apply mathematics, it come out right and exact.
Exactly.
But if you just use lost Muslim lesson ideology, you will still be lost and won't be found. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of brothers and sisters are doing, making this to a religion or having some idol worshiping the law. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? This is not the science we teach. We teach the black man is God and the black woman is earth, and he must take their rightful place as such, provided that they understand the role and responsibility that come with that. So our teachings It's just not about healing the mind. It's also about healing the body. It's about healing the energy that we have. And sometimes the energy is distorted and blocked based upon the Kundalini or the 7 planes of energy that's in your spine. So this healing hemp medicine, this plant-based medicine, to a lot of people's surprise, is in the book of Exodus as an anointed oil known as cannabism, which is the derivative word of cannabis, right? So we recognize that we have to go back to nature and keep and obey the laws of Islam, which we all know is mathematics. If you don't apply mathematics, nothing you do. And that's for all you knuckleheads out there, right? If you don't apply mathematics properly, you will not come out right and exact. 1 + 1 will always equal 2. If you tell me 1 + 2 = 8, I'm gonna look at you kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? And therefore, we have a responsibility as gods and earths. We got to be the example of what Allah taught us and his sons and daughters taught us, so that we can pass the torch and pass the baton on to the next generation. We are now in the 3rd generation of our nation, 57 years, soon to be 58, right? That's a serious science, especially for what the devil is doing right now, keeping us at 6 feet apart with 3 boosters, no less. That's today's degree in the 28th degree based upon pens, sticking pens in your head, propaganda, and not studying what's in those vaccines. Now, this is all revealed in the book of Revelation. We know that in our lesson to speak about that. Revelations, which means you're supposed to read it, decipher it mathematically so you can understand the days and times that we live in. This is another part of the teaching that most don't understand.
The mark of
right?
the beast.
Right. We have to begin to recognize that there are many things that we still don't know. So what must we do? We must travel and go find out. How can you tell me the God of the universe or God of the planet and you ain't been nowhere off that corner? You got to go travel. You got to go see something.
Damn.
You know what I mean? You got to go and go see something and then also interact with the people. Now, here's the question I posed the other day, and I like posing it, right? We talk about the language. We know in the 28th degree in the English Sea, it talks about the traitor left and no one was there to speak the language based upon the interpretation or the orientation, depending on what lessons you got, right? Well, the language is the law, right? And if we don't know the law, how can we keep and obey the laws of Islam? So we have to understand the law. That was the only thing that we didn't take from the devil, his language. And that's what he's using in this day and time to control the many. Laws, statutes, codes, mandates. To force you into thinking that if you don't take this, you can't survive. Yet they're giving it to you, but they're not telling you what's in it. And they sure ain't gonna be liable if something happens to you after they give it to you.
Not at all.
Right? So we have to be smart now, even more smarter. We cannot continue to say I'm God in earth and not show and prove it for real. You know what I'm saying?
True indeed, God.
And me at 55, God, I'm not the oldest God, within our nation, but I'm an older God, right? Some would say I'm their big brother,
Definitely
right? Well, big brother is always watching.
Definitely,
I'm doing knowledge.
I like that.
I'm paying attention to what's going on out there.
That's right. Say, big brother, watch.
Yeah, I'm always watching. I'm always got my eyes and my ears to the canvas. Right? I'm paying attention to what's going on. And it's important that a lot of our brothers and sisters who got this knowledge in the early 80s, 70s, whatever, we have to make sure that these young brothers and sisters get it right and exact. You can't get that from the internet. You can't get it. Now, these platforms is good, but you got to walk and talk with God and earth to know what it is and how it's possible.
Absolutely.
This platform was made to plug individuals in physically to the area that they in.
Right.
Yeah.
So don't think that because you got something off the internet that you're gonna get this right and exact. You have to know how to put those lessons in motion based upon time. Hold on one second, guys. Hold on one second. Oh, this is my daughter Destiny calling me. Hold on.
You all right? Go ahead. Take your call.
No. We good. I just want to let her know I'm gonna call her right back.
All right. So really quick, man, for anybody that's out there tuning in with us, man, if you interested in getting connected with this knowledge, no matter what your geographical place or location is, man, and you enjoying the build, hit the link in the bio and we can get it connected for you, man. So we don't care where you at. South America, North America, Europe, Belize.
Just the connection.
You know, this is the 5% connection. You know what I'm saying? And we here to get it connected. So we did have a question over here in the chat, man, that I was gonna take for us, God. And that question was, it's a good one. You know, I like questions like this, God, because what we have to remember is that, you know, these platforms are for the people who don't know, right? So, peace. Sure. Should a God only teach people of his color, or I'm guessing they going with like race? You know what I'm saying? You want to take that, God?
Yeah, so let's deal with that science, right? We're going to deal with 10th degree and 1 to 40 when it tells you about earth, right? Poor righteous teachers who do not believe in the teachings of the 10%, who is all wise and know who the true living God is, and teach that the almighty true living God, supreme being, black man from Asia, who teaches freedom, justice, and equality to the human family of the planet Earth, otherwise known as civilized people, also Muslim and Muslim sons. What is the key piece in there? The key piece of that degree is that we, the 5%ers, those that know who the true and living, not a dead man, true and living God is, teaching humanity. But you cannot teach them by lecturing to them. You teach them by showing them their greatness by being great yourself. You understand? Now, Allah taught a Caucasian man by the name of Azrael when he was in Madawan, right? Now, can a black man teach a white man? Everywhere the white man went, he saw us there. What do you think the Romans and the Greeks did when they saw it? They wanted to be like us. That's right?
Peace, God.
They wanted to see how they can be the kings and all that. And then they did it through bloodshed. They had to kill people, and then they put on all of the so-called royal regalia to try to make it seem like they created civilization when they know for a fact that it all came from us. We, unfortunately, because of the indoctrination, the piss poor education, and the lack of true history, we forgot that knowledge. The white man knows exactly who we are. We don't. But the 5%ers, right? Our job is to get you out of that mystery state so you can find out who you really are from within. Now, I'm going to take you a place, Darryl.
Bill.
I shared this when I was back at the law school, right? Most of y'all out there, y'all still believe in Jesus, right? Jesus is in our lessons as a prophet and a righteous brother. But they used his name to shield their dirty religion, which is called Christianity. Well, how do you show and prove that Jesus didn't teach Christianity? Because he never taught that. Paul did that. Take it to the Gospel of Thomas and read the first 7 scriptures, and you find out. This is a book they found in Egypt in 1945. And the first 7 scriptures, Jesus is telling you, we're talking about the living Jesus, right? A black man who's telling you that you got to know yourself. This is in that book. It's 114 scriptures when you read it. Now, the question was, can you teach? Yes, you can teach. Can the white man be God? He's the God of this world, right? But we said we the God and Lord of all the worlds. Therefore, what does that mean? It means that when we become exposed to this knowledge, and we get the wisdom, the experience, traveling with this knowledge, and we get the full, complete understanding of this knowledge, that only born 6. 1, 2, and 3 is 6. But you got to have proper knowledge, which is the God reality, and you add that, now that's 7. So yeah, can a black man, God, teach colored people? Yes, they can. But it's what you teaching them. Now, I was always taught, don't teach the white man first. Teach your own first.
Ooh.
The white man gonna see who you are based upon how you taught, based upon how you carry yourself. If you ever notice the law, he was always suit, ties, clean. Even the guards, the pioneers who came for all of us, the guards in the early days, they was bow tied up, suits, ties. They looked a certain way. Now, they carried
God,
a certain
peace,
way.
God. I don't want to cut you. I want to ask you this. I just want to add this into your bill, God, because I know that it's going to take you in the same direction, right? The same person who asked that question, they said, but the white man has stripped us of so much. With
Mhm.
all due respect, like, so, what do you say to that? To the people who say,
Okay, so
how y'all teaching them? But we done been through so much as a people,
right.
with
So
what we
one
know
of
with
the things that our
slavery,
lessons,
just all that. Come on with it,
right.
dog.
Our lessons talk about we took everything from the devil, everything except his language. And it was his language that he used to take everything from us, even with your birth certificate, even all that. So Allah, we're talking about the Father, always said, based upon what was taught to us from those who came before us, to get the education. But what type of education? First, you got to know who you are. Then you have to discover what you can do by what? Your intellect. Then you have to understand the language of this devil and use the language that he has against him, meaning his laws. Based upon today's degree, we talk about rules and regulations. But how does he regulate? He used statutes, which is known as rules, to govern. He used the cremators, which is the police, FBI, and all that to cover. So it is true. The white man has taken many things from us, but we can also take it back, right? We can take it back. And the first thing we got to do is we got to have the proper knowledge of ourselves to understand. Now, we gave this white man a grace period, according to our lessons. And he began to form some sense of what? Fighting against himself in the early 1914s. But what happened a year before that? The financial system was created here in Georgia and Jekyll Island. What does that mean? The white man controls the money supply. That's what most of us are chasing, the money. Well, when you understand the knowledge yourself, you realize there is no money, it's only credit.
Ooh.
Your credit is the key, meaning you must be credible as it relates to your word being bond, as it relates to your reality of being God. Now, it is true that the white man has done what he's done, but a lot of our own people also helped him do it. You know what I'm saying? And this is what you got to discover as you begin to study the history of this so-called nation. This nation is a corporation. I'm talking about the United States of America. It is not a country, legally speaking. You understand what I'm saying? If you understand the science of law, semantics, and legalese, it is a corporation. So once we understand the reality of this, then we have to become what? Sovereign as it relates to the knowledge of ourselves and take back what was taken from us using the proper knowledge, wisdom, and understanding so that we can get the things that we need as it relates to food, clothing, and shelter, as it relates to the supply, gold, these different things. Well, we have many gods on earth that are doctors, lawyers, artists, but they're not actually pooling their resources back to the people as it relates to that. So when we talk about, well, the white man did this, the white man that, we can no longer blame the white man because we understand in our lesson that he's going to do this daily,
I see
24 hours a day. Don't
God.
forget the year.
Peace, God. Not to cut your wisdom. I see
No.
the God sitting here sitting up. I
No,
know he
just
was
think
ready.
about what you
He was
just
ready to
said,
come on, add something on.
Because me and the guy was building earlier about that, and when you talk about that, situation like that, because individuals may ask, like, okay, first of all, I'm with you.
Yeah.
We teach everybody. We
That's
about
right.
righteousness. We not pro-black. We not anti-white.
Right,
You understand what I'm saying? I'm pro-righteousness, anti-devishment.
right.
know,
Which
and
is
that-
a state of mind,
Exactly. You understand what I'm saying?
right?
Now,
Devil's a state of mind that
exactly.
can be learned and unlearned
And,
if
and,
they.
and however, I understand the nature of the question.
Right,
You understand what I'm saying? I truly understand the nature of the question.
right,
However, dealing with it from a perspective of, you know, we don't allow that idea to cause no static in what it is we doing
and
nowadays. The idea of, the white man doing what he did, the
right,
slavery, this, that, and the third, because
right,
we moving ahead. We got the knowledge of self. You
right,
understand what I'm saying? The truth is being revealed. The seventh
right,
seal done been cracked.
right.
And so when you want to look for these type of examples, which something you had said that sparked the thought that me and the guy was having a conversation about earlier, which is, you know, you can't look at our nation and say, well, the nation don't have a nation business. And I say, no, we don't have a nation business. That's because we're not an organization or a group that moves at the whim of one command. So therefore, when we don't have a nation business, but we are a nation that have plenty of businesses. You would have
That's
to
a fact.
go and get with individual gods and earths, any and every city and state in America, and
Right.
interview them and see how many, valid tax-paying businesses that you have, that these guys and earths have.
Yeah.
So
Fact.
this is how we move and function throughout the society, having an effect. That
Right.
effect, it may not be seen on the mass level, but yet when you take that idea and you think about us in that perspective and go and interview these different individuals and see who's business owners, you'll see like, yo, we do have business.
Right. So to add on to that, and to extend that reach, we are definitely not an organization in the sense of, who's the head and who's the leader. We're all leaders as it relates to our bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
And we all individually, as it relates to the collective mind, have businesses. Like I said, I have 3, right?
Exactly.
A lot of brothers and sisters may not understand how to form a business, may not have the know-how. This is where we educate you in that area as well.
Yeah,
so
that's why I emphasize tax paying.
Right. Now, there's various ways, just like the 1%ers, as they like to call themselves, to avoid these so-called alleged codes called taxes. Right? But you have to understand the law, the loopholes, which is what they do. This is why they educate us on a lower level and a lower standard to be laborers. Now, remember, today's degree in the English C talks about the trader left and no one's left to speak a language based upon the promised goal. Well, the goal is twofold, the GOLD and the GOAL. Well, what is the goal? Well, you got to have a plan, right? And one thing that knowledge itself gives us is a plan of action, right? To plan it so that our women can now be useful, and we could be useful to them based upon the 7th degree. And now we have a combined reality of nation business. Right. One thing that my big brother Dumar YD Allah used to tell me, and he used to say this a lot, where are the gods and earths with the resources so that we can go? There's an earth right now, a serious earth. She's a dentist, right? Got her knowledge in Medina. You know what I mean? By, one of the great gods, out there when she was growing up. We have myself. You have other gods and earths that have businesses. Again, we're not waiting on no one, to hold our hand or to guide you. If you want this, we are really available to you. You know what I mean? To give you this knowledge the proper way and make sure that you're dedicated. Now, my first student, I want to go and say something about this in terms of business. My first student, when I began to understand the reality of this lessons and the reality of our nation, was Sia Akil, Allah, peace be upon him. Some of y'all may know him, one of the great gods. Yeah, he was one of, and he passed away on my physical day, which was another situation. But the point of the matter is, I used to tell him a lot. When you're doing business for this nation, remember, you have a mindset that must be determined through dedication, right? And it must be done with a sense of discipline. Now, me being in the military for 19 years, I kind of find myself as being one of the most disciplined persons out there. You know what I mean? Not because I'm better than no one, but I'm better based upon my discipline. You know what I mean? And that's another thing about building a nation and making it walk and talk. When I used to work at the labels, I would only have guards work for me, but they had to have 120 on cap. You know what I'm saying? So that when we move as one. You know what I mean? That's what right. I used to do. I never hired 85s to work with me. I hired them because I felt that they needed, me to do what I had to do. And I wanted to make sure they had the knowledge. What was the point of God in the business? All of us on this phone call right now, those that are listening outside, we all have business to take care of. Our personal business, family business, the business that we want to build. And right now, we are going through this thing called the Great Reset. Well, what are they resetting? Everything. Financial systems, educational systems. The whole medical system is being transformed. So we have to be ready, willing, able, stable enough to adapt to this change that is happening and still, deal with the 38th degree. Don't fall victim to none of it, right? To show and prove that the laws of God always have been and always will be mean to exist. And the question now is, what are you existing for? That's the question. If you have no purpose, then stop wasting time acting like you know something, right? Put what you think, put what you know in motion so that the babies can see what greatness really looks like and how they can be what? Great in all their endeavors. I wanted to say that as it relates to the business. One more thing that I wanted to say too as it relates to that.
Peace, God.
Right? Is business, nation business, as it relates to the building aspect. As my brother Born Black would say, builders build. Right? And if you're building, you don't have time to gossip. You don't have time to be going back and forth with a bunch of knuckleheads. You know what I mean? We ain't got time to be caught up with a man and woman, or a man or woman with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding should never debate. They always will agree, right? So that we can move together as one. And that's what this nation is about. Being one in the mind, one in the body as a force, and one in the energy that we can produce, which is called power. And that power must be harnessed. It must be demonstrated 25 hours a day. You know what I mean? Not 24 if you're on the clock. You know what I'm saying? Because some of y'all are on the clock. No, y'all know the science of the clock. Some of y'all. If you don't, get with one of the gods and earths who do know the science of the clock, and you will always be on time and not out of time.
I know that's right, God. Peace to the God. Man. I told IC, I said, man, I know the God gonna come on here and kick it. I said, I know the God.
Yeah, we gonna build, God.
The God can build. I know you could build, man, and you thank you, God, that because you dropped it, man. Really quick, God. I want to I got a special treat for the people out there. I want to bring the earth up here.
Yeah.
Because this is the God and Earth Hour podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and you know what? I'm glad you're doing that. Let's talk about God and Earth relations.
Real quick, God, I want to get the Earth. We got the Earth building her little corner real quick. So I'm about to bring the Earth up. She about to go into the science of some, I think, seeds and hemp. Just and it's really peace. It's really on time, and just to add on to what you was going through. So I want to bring the Earth up real quick, and then we can go through it. We can go through it. So I got the wonderful and amazing Mecca Sea Freedom Earth that I got to bring to the stage. Peace, Earth. So let me bring the Earth on up here. So Earth, if you don't mind, if you please introduce yourself and you can go ahead into your build, Earth. What you building on? Tell us what you got for us today. Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. Now
is she visual, like God, or is she just audio?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Peace, Earth. How are you?
Peace to the God.
All right, I see you.
To the kings and queens out there watching, I actually just wanted to quickly make knowledge born on hemp and hemp seeds and the nutritional profile of hemp.
Yeah.
I actually discovered hemp a couple of years ago in striving to find an alternative to breast milk and also formula for my children. So one thing that I did find is that hemp seeds in regards to making milk is actually very, very high in omega-3s and omega-6s, riboflavin, and other vitamins and minerals. But I wanted to touch on omega-3s and 6s because both of those actually deal in the science of brain development. And it deals in the science of helping to reduce anxiety, depression, and it actually helps with skin ailments, heart ailments, and it actually helps for the overall health of each one of those bodily systems. So if you are a new mom and you're actually looking to not want to breastfeed, or if it's too hard, or if you just can't produce for whatever reason, obviously take those steps to be able to produce milk. However, hemp can be a wonderful alternative to give your child.
Exactly.
So,
as well as an alternative to formula, right?
Absolutely.
Because of course, anybody who don't want to, for any reason, who don't want to, can't breastfeed.
Yeah.
The alternative is always, formula.
Right.
Similar.
Yeah.
So, go. I didn't mean to cut your wisdom, Irv. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I have something.
Go ahead. Come on, God.
Based on omega-3s and omega-6s, right? And I was breastfed by my mother. Again, that's what we do in Belize. They breastfeed the babies. If you notice, they never get sick.
Right,
If
of
the moment
course.
you put those vaccines in them, that's when they start getting sick and start developing all these different things.
Right.
What happens is the body, as you probably know through your study, each and every one of us has a system called the endocannabinoid system, which produces homeostasis or balance to the body.
True indeed.
Through the PD1 receptors of the brain is based on brain development and neurons connecting, and CD2 receptors within the immune system.
True.
When that system is off, when it's no longer balanced, this is how disease and all types of ailments are formed. So the hemp, notice I didn't say marijuana or cannabis.
Right.
The hemp, right, which is what I focus on, is the healing aspect, because the body, when you understand how it functions in its totality, once it's balanced again, it can actually heal itself. Now, here's a question when I do my lectures to a lot of people in the community. I ask them two questions. One, how much is your life worth? And two, when you look in the word mind, what do you see? And they go, what do you mean look in the word mind? Yeah, when you look in the word mind, what's the first word that you see? Most of them, because the synapse is not connected, they miss the mark. All I'm saying is look within, take out the two letters of N, you got MD, you become your own doctor.
Peace, God. Real quick, let me let the earth that somebody had a question for the earth.
Yes.
So earth, is it, see, the question was, peace, is it hemp milk by itself? Could you go into the science of how you making hemp milk? What, I know we've been talking about what is hemp milk, but she was saying, is it hemp milk by itself? Could you go into that?
Well, it wouldn't be necessarily hemp milk by itself per se. Like you would need to add water, spring water. I prefer spring water or distilled water. However, I personally would think that I would be able to hold some type of class or some type of YouTube video in the future just showing how to actually make hemp milk. But you would actually use spring or distilled water. And in regards to sweetening, sometimes children or infants are actually underneath the age of 12 months to 11 months, so you couldn't give them honey. So you can do an alternative like dates or agave syrup or coconut sugar. And I also like to use cinnamon, because the spiced cinnamon actually is anti-inflammatory as well as calming to a child. Peace, God.
That's turmeric.
Turmeric.
And earth. Yeah. And there are some companies and brands out there that make their own hemp milk.
Yes, they do. Right? Yes, they do. And the problem that I have with that is that the preservatives that they actually use inside to actually extend the shelf life of hemp milk. So one thing I discovered was that although it is good to have that as an alternative if you want to go and buy it, it would be even better to actually make it yourself.
Ain't no question.
And that way you can use it at its most fresh, at the most peak freshness. It will last. Absolutely. It will last in the refrigerator for up to a week, maybe a couple of days. However, a child being, hungry and have an appetite, obviously you're going to use it. So each hemp milk recipe varies by person to person. I personally like to use sea moss in mine. And the reason why I use sea moss is obviously the 92 minerals that are found within it. But cognitively speaking, my 3-year-old child, I can see the benefit from us, switching over to that from exclusively breastfeeding, and the intelligence that I see within my own child from giving him hemp milk. Peace, God.
The sea moss, for those who don't know, this is a sea moss.
Sea moss gel is what I use within my personal recipe. So I know people like to say this is secret batch, but this is a jewel I'm giving people who are listening. So take this jewel and use it, because that would be a natural thickener to your hemp milk. Cinnamon would be another good one. Dates is another good one. Even if you was to do almond milk, that's also better fresh and not something that's store-bought, just because of the preservatives nowadays that we have. It's modern day embalming for food. Okay, that's what I call preservatives. Modern day embalming for food. We embalm a body when it's deceased, so we're embalming our food with preservatives, and you don't know what type of adverse effects those things have.
Word,
On your body as well as your mind.
I know
You
that's
know,
Indeed.
yeah.
Facts.
so yeah,
That's it.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Earth.
You're most welcome.
It is always a pleasure to have you on here and bring you up here for the Earth Corner, man, and let you kick and let you drop some of that supreme wisdom that you got on us in that science, man. Thank you, Earth. I
appreciate y'all
it.
for having me.
Ain't no question, Earth. So I'm gonna bring IC back up. Thank you so much, Earth. We appreciate
Peace to
it.
the guys.
Before, peace,
Go ahead.
peace, peace.
Go ahead.
There any questions you have for me as an Earth? As far as dialogue, any questions you have for me?
Well, actually, I do. I was actually interested when you were talking about the certain products you developed with the said doctor you spoke
Dr.
about.
Bao Li.
What you said, Doctor who?
Bao Li.
Bao
You
Li.
can go to the website hemp.co,
Okay.
and you can understand who he is and how we came together. I was out here at a lecture.
What was that? What was that website? One more time, God.
hemp.co.
That's H.
Hemp, H, he or her, equality master power dot C cipher. And that'll show you our products. And I was an intricate part of the creation of the tinctures.
Okay.
Of the tinctures we have. And let me show them to you right quick.
Okay.
Go ahead. Come on up, God. We can bring you on into. Please.
What I did with the doctor, because I recognized that a lot of us need focus, calm, and rest.
True indeed.
We actually created it. Focus, which is watermelon flavor. It has theanine, which is the ingredients of green tea to help with the focus for clarity.
True indeed.
On receptors. And that is a concentrate of CBG, which is the mother of the cannabinoids, and the CBD and the theanine. That's a $3,000 milligram of tincture, focus, watermelon flavor. Now, for those who have anxiety and who are stressed out, we created Calm, right? And that has CBG and CBD, and its milligrams is 2,000 milligrams, and it's orange cream flavor.
Okay.
Right? And then we have rest. Now, we also know, based upon, as you said, those preservatives, the embalming also calcifies the pineal gland.
Sure indeed.
And therefore, many people cannot fall asleep based upon the melatonin that's produced when you close your eyes. So what this does, we have what we call CBG, CBD, and CBN, which is a plant-based reality to help the pineal gland release the melatonin, and now you can fall asleep. And this is blueberry flavor. Also, as another part of pain, for those who understand the nature of hemp, we have a product called Delta 8. You might have heard about it, right? But this comes from the father plant, not the mother. And what it does, it helps in pain. It helps with all that. And I have that as well in apple flavor.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
In its tincture form?
And tincture form, because some people don't want to smoke. They will have it edibles. So I have this in edibles, watermelon flavor, pineapple flavor, all these different things. And all that is on the website that I just gave, hemp.co. Now, I'm sharing this with everybody because, one, the medicines that the doctors are giving us are synthetic drugs. They are addicting. They can make you into an addict. You know what I mean? Have an addiction.
Yes.
And one of the things that I teach, especially a lot of the veterans who come back from war like myself, is that those synthetic drugs are gateway drugs to other fentanyl, heroin, all these other things. This is the natural supplement, the natural plant-based supplement to those things in liquid form. We also have them in lollipops. We also have them in movies, right? So we have these things, and I've tried to share that with a lot of Gods and Earths, and a few have been my clients. But I want to get the Gods and Earths in the business of it.
And God,
sure indeed.
I can see that. I will tell you, you know, just here in D-Mecca, God, you know, I've had the personal experience to work with people that were cancer patients, God. You know what I mean? People that suffer from epilepsy. People that suffer from, you know, Alzheimer's, from different diseases and diseases of the mind. And
right.
then
And these things will help them.
and they would get introduced to things like your Rick Simpson oil. You know that
Yes,
is
I
derived
saw.
that is derived from the CBDs and the cannabinoids, and
Yes,
they make these drastic changes. You know what a lot of people don't know, it is the science of the cannabinoids and the CBDs and these herbal extracts from the cannabis plant. Like you said, not only the
that's correct.
cannabis plant but the hemp plant that have been the driving force behind legalization. It ain't people not the science that is not about, like you said, just getting high. The science is in the medicine
Trendy.
about
Right. It's about the healing
the
aspect, and that's
healing
what I focus
aspect.
on.
Peace, God,
Right.
Bill.
That's
No
what I
doubt.
focus on is the healing. It's not about. I'm not about the green rush, although I'm a business. It's about the green heart, and in this particular aspect, I even gave this to my young God Justice, who had leukemia, and I can't say it cured because, of course, that's an FDA issue. But like I said, it actually healed him from that suffering. Along with God's earth seed, for those who understand the science, herbs and different things. For me, being from Belize, we didn't have doctors coming up. We had to go in the back of the bush where our grandmothers would take different plants, you know what I mean, and put it together and have you drink it. Like I have senna, cerasee, plant form, and drink that as a concoction. I have the sour sop and all these different things.
That sinner's a bad boy, man.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, man. That's the
Well,
earth. Every time we get sick, every time I get sick, that's the earth over here. Well, you can take some sinner. The sinner, it'll clean you out.
You better clean out, and that's what you have to do. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. That's my daughter's. My daughter's Destiny and Scary Mari trying to reach out. So we have to go back to nature and plant-based medicines for our healing, especially a lot of the gods.
I think we might have lost the God real quick. Yo, definitely, man. Peace, fam, on Facebook, man. We definitely appreciate you. Yes. This is a great build, man. Earth, I definitely appreciate you, Earth. It's been a pleasure having you. Anytime. We're going to see you on Friday for the next Earth Corner of the God and Earth Hour podcast. So let's get an Earth a round of applause. Peace, Earth. So, man, listen, man, if you got any last minute questions, this is the God and Earth Hour, man, and we running over the hour. And we ain't striving to keep y'all all night, man. You know what I'm saying? We don't mind keeping the bill rocking and rolling. But, so listen, if you got any questions, if you got any things that you need to get answered from the guys, man, please drop them in the chat. Peace, God. We still here. We got you, baby. You good?
That was my daughter's Destiny and Ciara Mari trying to reach out to me, but I told him I'll call him right back. So as I said, it's where would I leave off? Oh yeah. So the point is that we got to get back to nature. We got to get back to plant-based medicines. We got to really know ourselves inner and outer, so that we can take on the healing. Because a lot of our young, and I don't say young, but a lot of our gods and earths in our nation are becoming more afflicted with diseases and different things that could be dealt with if they go back to nature. Just like with Elijah, we have the books How to Eat to Live. Well, those books are very serious to have, but we got to actually put those things in motion. You see what I'm saying? We got to continue to work out. We got to continue to do things to have our life preserved. You know what I mean? So we have a life to live for what's left of it. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense to everybody out there.
Yes, God, that definitely makes sense, man. That makes 100% sense, man. I see, man. Do you have anything that you want to add on? I know you've been over there doing the knowledge, anxiously like, man, I know you ready. Something you wanted to add on to the sauce over here.
Well, no. I mean, really, I was just really appreciating the build. And,
Peace, God.
I want to say, it was amazing having you. You know what I'm saying? I love the history. You know what I'm saying? Getting your 9,000-mile struggle.
It wasn't easy. Nothing great is ever easy, God. You know that.
No doubt.
Word.
I like to connect with you, in the future on that hemp.
Oh, definitely. Like I said, check out my websites. I'm getting ready to re-establish the management consultation one for music, but you can go to veteranshealthsolutions.org, veteranhealthsolutions.org, and you'll see my profile, and then go to Hempco and you see the products. Again, I do a lot of work, like I said, in the community. We just finished doing Operation Give Back with a lot of our veterans here in Atlanta, giving them clothes, medicine, and all that. So I would love to do more in the community. Maybe I did a lecture called Hemp, Me, and CBD, where it talks about hemp, it talks about the person, it talks about how CBD can be very helpful to our nation and others who would like to partake in that business affair. So if we can do that, we want to do an online situation, we can definitely go through it. And I'd love to give brothers and sisters guidance on how they can get involved. If not as advocates or patients, definitely as those that want to get into the entrepreneurial side of it. You know what I mean? Without question.
Yeah, definitely, God, definitely. Well, I'm gonna keep you on a little bit, so we can build and go through a little bit after the joint, cause we is about at our hour, man. So listen, man, if you've been tuning in with us this entire time, man, we appreciate you. If you interested in connecting with the guys or in connecting with the guys in the earth, man, and connecting with our culture, regardless of your geographical location, man, make sure that you tap in with us. You could check if you wanna follow the guy on IG. Guy, your IG is High Hemp Partners.
Yeah, it's
I put it in the comments. It's in the comments, man.
Yeah,
I put it in the comments.
It's high. It's actually high EMP partners or EM partners. You know what I mean? Kind of, and if you look in the middle, it just says hemp. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yep. I put it in the comments.
Also, for those that's in our nation that are veterans, male or female, or any other, you can go to my IG for that. Veteran Health Solutions. Veteran Health Solutions is the IG handle for that.
Word.
You know what I'm saying?
Peace to the God. Yeah. Peace to the God. So anything you want to leave the people with finally, God, before we get up out of here?
I think one is, again, for those that are new to this nation is very intimate, very intimate. And when I say intimate, not intimate, wrong word.
Intricate.
This nation is very eccentric. And it's very vital and critical to your well-being once you get it done right? We have many people who come and go, but the key is if you understand and you're with the right person, with the right teacher. The student-teacher relationship is a very important one when it comes to this knowledge, right? And so I would ask all of you to take your time. Do not rush through your lessons, but do the knowledge to the lesson, manifest the lesson, and understand the lesson so you can bond your equality complete. Lastly, be mindful that 2021 was a very serious year. 2022 is going to be a little bit more epic. Notice the science of the numbers. 6. So, therefore, there's going to be a lot of things that you need to pay attention to. Do the knowledge to everything. And another thing, do not let any man deceive you with his name, because many people deceive people with the name. Make sure that they are complete in the mind. And mind your business so that you can be in business for the long term for growth development. And I want to thank the gods I see, Allah,
Peace, God.
is it?
Peace, God.
Right? And the God, Minister Freedom, for allowing me to be on this platform. I hope that what I said makes sense. I hope I wasn't too long-winded. I hope that what I shared gave you insight on what you can be when you apply mathematics right, and know that all of us come from a dead world. The key is how you living and how do you want to live as it relates to your legacy. So I want to say thank you, brothers, for having me. And again, man, I appreciate everything. And I appreciate this time and space with you, brothers, this evening. Thank you very, very much.
Man, God, I appreciate you, man. It's been an absolute pleasure, God. I've been telling the God, and I told the God that it was gonna be dope having you on here, man, because I knew that you would come with a really great perspective and a really great add-on, man. And you know what it is, God, is what this about. And me and IC said that, man. Our culture, like you said, is very eccentric. It's so multifaceted. It's universal. It's some people say 360. I say it's infinite. So it's infinite expressions of this mindset and this manifestation, and I think it's so dope and so powerful to be able to not only build with the guys, man, but be able to highlight and give the people flowers and the love and the peace and the respect, in as much as capacity as we can, God, as well as exposing a new generation to what we about, man, and what we do, man, and what we teach.
Right. I appreciate it, man.
Man, God.
I really enjoyed this. It ain't every day I get on a platform and be able to, add on. I normally keep to myself and just basically, add on in the community where I'm at. But I really appreciate the platform. I thank you, brothers, for what y'all doing. And hopefully those that are out there seeking knowledge, man, continue to seek until you find. But when you find, you become disturbed. When you become disturbed, you realize that you can reign over all when you come back home. You know what I mean? So come on home. It's time now. Got to wake up now.
Word. Peace to the God. I see. Anything you want to lead the people with, man, before we get up out of here?
Proper education always causes elevation.
No, that's
Without
right.
question.
Everybody, just stay positive, keep the righteous state of mind, and as I always say, peace to all the positive people in the universe.
Man, peace.
And one more thing, right? If you personally elevate Allah's cultural existence, you'll have an existence.
Damn.
Peace.
Man,
That's peace.
to God.
And that's peace.
Whoa, man, that was cold right there. Yeah, man. So listen, man, let's get up out of here, man. Peace to everybody that's tuning
Salute
in.
to the gods and earth.
Man, peace to all of the people, man. We gonna lead y'all in the highest form of greeting, man, in the universe, and that's peace.
Peace.
You cannot go around here through